Hi, my name is Nomalangam Sally Moses with Successful Black Woman and Healthy Black Woman. And this is a segment of Your Black Women, where Black women keep it real. Today, I wanted to share my thoughts on an article that I read at iDate Daily. I'm just looking at my notes here. And the title of the article was Steph Curry's wife accused of slut shaming after an innocent tweet. Steph Curry's wife is called Ayesha Curry, and I'll just read you what she tweeted, word for word. She said, "Everyone is barely wearing clothes these days, huh? Not my style. I like to keep the good stuff covered up for the one who matters." Okay? No problem, right? But no. The Twitterverse went crazy. The blogs went crazy. Facebook, social media went crazy. And a lot of the people who went crazy, as what I'm calling it, is going crazy, is they said that she was shaming, slut shaming. Is the question, of course, that I want to answer is, was she slut shaming women, I suppose, who like to keep the good stuff uncovered, okay, and barely wearing clothes? Was she slut shaming them? My short answer is no. No, she was not shaming anyone. Because in that tweet, one of the things that she said was, "No, that's not my style." And then she went on to say, "I like to keep the good stuff covered up for the one who matters." And I would assume that the one who matters, of course, is her husband. Now, I'm not overly conservative, nor am I overly liberal. However, I do think that one woman expressing her opinion about what she feels is appropriate is not shaming anybody. Now, is she saying that women who do expose themselves too much, and by expose I mean the overly obvious cleavages, things that are too tight, too short, exposed thighs, just exposing body parts that are typically covered up. Are those women sluts? Is she saying those women are sluts, or is she saying there's something wrong with them? Actually, she didn't say that. She just said that that was not her style. And then she said that she preferred to keep it covered up. Now, is it implied? I would not go so far as to say she was implying it, although I'll say it. I think that there is something wrong. I think that if a woman feels that the only way, or one of the ways that she gets attention, is by having body parts that we typically expect to be covered up out in the open or suggestively out there, I think there's an issue there. I think that we can, on one hand, say that we want to be taken seriously and accuse men of sexualizing us, of harassing us, and all these other things. And then, on the other hand, serve it up and leave it all out there. Now, I'm, of course, of the opinion that women can do whatever they want. However, if you do what you want, you have to be willing to face the consequences, or what comes with it. Okay, you have stuff hanging out, you're gonna get more attention than somebody who doesn't. Is it attention that you want? Maybe not. Okay, and you have to deal with that. That's just a fact. Okay, so no, she was not shaming anybody. However, those who choose to make a different decision get different results. And should people catcall and look at you and all these other things? They probably shouldn't, but the fact is they do. And it is foreseeable when you wear those clothes that are overly revealing, it's foreseeable that that's how people will respond, especially men. That's how they will respond. So you can't say, "I don't want this to happen to me," and then provide the circumstances for it to happen. You can't have it both ways. Okay, do you deserve to be respected and have people listen to what you have to say and not just judge you based on what you're dressed? Absolutely, you absolutely deserve that. But guess what, we don't always get what we deserve. Okay, the second thing is that I wanted to talk about is I get a feeling lately that liberals can be bullies, especially feminists. I understand that the feminist movement came about because women were being treated unfairly, and now they've decided to push back. I have no problem with that. But the problem is, now it seems like we've gone all the way onto the other end of the spectrum. The people who were saying they were subjected to things that they didn't want are now trying to subject other people to things that they don't want. Now a woman can't just voice her opinion if it's not a liberal opinion. This is more on the conservative side, where she says, "I prefer to keep things covered up, and I prefer that only, the one who counts sees it." She's obviously being conservative. And I would assume she's talking about her husband, meaning he's the only person who gets to see her uncovered. That's a very conservative standpoint to take. And I would imagine that the people who are having the most trouble digesting this are people who are very liberal and are saying, well, if I want to wear what I want to wear, don't you judge me, whatever. She's not judging anybody, guys. But let's not go all the way onto the other spectrum where we say conservatives are always oppressing us, they're always judging us, and then turn around and judge or oppress somebody who's being conservative with our liberal talk and our liberal agenda. Okay, and the same thing goes for feminists. I think that it's okay. I think it's important. It's imperative that we stand up for our rights as women. However, it should never get to the point where we become bullies and we don't allow people who have chosen to stand as conservatives or more conservative, that we don't allow them to still stand and be who they are and say what they have to say, have their opinions, and choose not to follow that liberal agenda. Then the other thing that I wanted to share was, if you Googled me, you'd probably find one or two pictures of me in a bathing suit. And that's because I've competed in pageants from the time that before I was married. I competed in pageants for single women, and I've since competed in two pageants for married women. One was Mrs. World and one was Mrs. Earth, and both of them had bathing suit competitions. Now, that was an appropriate venue to have most of my clothes off. If a woman is at the beach and she's wearing a bathing suit, there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's saying that a woman should always be covered up, but where it's appropriate, you can become uncovered. Is the point? That's the point that I'm making. However, there's a distinct difference between where you're uncovered appropriately and where you're seeking attention. And you know exactly who we're talking about. We're talking about the women whose focus, whether they're taking a picture, whether they're out and about in their normal life, whether they're at home with family and friends, the main objective of them is to just show their stuff, okay? And maybe they think it's sexy, or maybe they think it's sensual, or whatever it is. To each his own, okay? However, I think that there still is a line that women cross, and I still think that we have the right to say where that line is for each of us. For some people, that line is, very, very conservative women, especially religious women. In some religions, even showing your hair and your face is too much, okay? And they've drawn that line for themselves, and they abide by that line that they've drawn. Everybody gets to draw that line for themselves. And everybody gets to decide what's appropriate and what's not appropriate based on what they believe and what they value. So all I'm saying is there is a line, okay? And you can't fault somebody for defining what their line is. And then saying, this is my line and this is the line that I will not cross. Now, with Ayesha Curry, her line, of course, as she stated, was she prefers to keep things covered up except for the one who matters. I'm assuming that's her husband. That's her line. She deserves to be able to draw her line and abide by it. Somebody else might draw another line and abide by that line. I, however, haven't been in a position to counsel, mentor, advise. Lots of young women would say, take heed of Ayesha Curry's advice, okay? What you put out there is what creates the results that you get, okay? Whether we like to admit it or not, okay? It's hard to pay attention to what's in your mind. It's hard to pay attention to what's in your mind and how intelligent, amazing, or talented you are when we're very, very, very distracted by your body parts like your breast and your thighs and your booty and whatever else you decide to have hanging out. It's hard to pay attention to anything more than that. And call people shallow, call them perverts or whatever you want, but the truth is it's hard to pay attention to those other things when there's other things distracting us because you chose to dress in a way that distracts us from all your other talents or all the other smart things that you have to say. If you make that choice, then you have to deal with the consequences, and that's that. So my final point on this is no, Ayesha Curry does not deserve to be called a slut shamer. She's just a woman who voiced her opinion, and if you don't like her opinion, that's okay. You can voice yours too. Again, my name is Nomalanga Mhlali Moses, and this has been a segment of Your Black Women, where Black women keep it real.